Whatever you do, you want to develop technical mastery. You want to be the best at what you do. You want to master it. See, part of self-motivation is finding something that gives you a strong sense of competence. When you become known for that, you develop a reputation for being good at it. You set some high personal standards for yourself. You're not competing with anybody else. You're just unfolding yourself to be the best person you can be. You want to give the best quality service you can because that is a statement about who you are. The other key to self-motivation is recognizing that you're going to get into slumps. You're going to encounter a great deal of failure in life. It goes with the territory. But in the face of that, you want to be relentless. When you want something, you can't expect everybody to say, oh, you want this. Great. Here, take it because you're such a nice person and you're doing it for your family. Life isn't like that. Many doors will be closed in your face. Many loans you apply for will be denied because you don't have enough collateral or credit. Most people will give up, but you've got to decide, I'm going to be fearless. I refuse to be denied. I'm going to go all out. You have to be relentless. It doesn't matter how many no's you encounter. I like what Isaiah Thomas said when he was preparing for a basketball game. I'm going to either shoot us in or shoot us out, but I'm not going to not do anything. That's the way to go. You can't make a basket unless you shoot the ball. You can't hit a home run unless you take a swing at it. But most people won't even take a swing. They'll say, well, I probably won't make it anyhow. That's the conversation within. They probably won't give it to me anyhow. If you want something, you've got to be relentless. You've got to decide, I deserve this and I'm going to have it. Then you go all out to get it. That's what drives you. The next thing is that when you want something out of life, you've got to be willing to take action. Don't wait around for things to be just right. Don't wait for things to be perfect. Don't wait for the ideal situation. It will never be ideal. There will always be a reason. Well, as soon as the children grow up, or as soon as I pay my bills, or as soon as I get my divorce, or as soon as I get enough money together. A lot of people never take a chance in life. They don't want to take any risks. They want the situation to be ideal. See, that's not walking by faith. That's walking by sight. If I can see it, I'll do it. No, no, no. A lot of people say, if I can see it, I'll believe it. No, no, no. If you believe it, you can see it. And don't be disturbed because no one else can see it. That's not unusual. That is ordinary. But because you want different results in your life, you've got to be willing to be unreasonable. If you want unreasonable results in your life, you've got to be willing to be unreasonable. Part of being unreasonable means you don't judge according to appearances. Part of being unreasonable means you can see it because you believe it. That's part of being unreasonable. Part of being unreasonable is being like Paul, who said you must have the faith to call forth those things that be not as though they were. That's part of being unreasonable. Most people won't do that. Most people say, call me when you get it together. Another key to self-motivation that empowers you is finding a cause larger than yourself. Find something you can contribute to. Find something where you can make a difference. Part of what feeds your larger vision and gives you a reason for being is the ability to give something back. I can't afford to give anything. You can't afford not to give. Give your time. Give your talent. Even if it's just licking envelopes, you might say, I don't know exactly what I'm going to do, but I'm going to show up. That's part of your tithing in the universe. Once you develop that special sense of mission, it drives you. You don't need an alarm clock to wake up in the morning. You have a special power. You go places and people will like being around you. They'll sense there's something different about you. No one would get on an airplane if they thought their chances of arriving at their destination were as good as their luggage's chances. The reason you reach your destination more often than your luggage does is that airlines prioritize moving human beings from one point to another safely. And I'm glad they do. I'm not upset when my luggage doesn't show up because they made me a priority. They made delivering me to my destination important. Similarly, if you want to honor your commitment, whatever you decide to do, make sure it's important. Make sure it's a priority. Keep it before you. Whatever you want to do, whatever you want to begin to create, manifesting your greatness and strengthening your level of commitment is about exercising your will. Find something you want to do, something aligned with your goal, and take one action step. Make sure it stretches you, challenges you, but is doable. For example, this year I decided I was going to exercise. I started out doing just 10 sit-ups and 10 push-ups. I knew I could do that without getting upset or overthinking it. Now I'm up to 50. But if I tried to do 50 at the start, I wouldn't still be doing it. So I began with manageable segments. That strengthened my will. My commitment is now fortified by the activity of actually doing it, and I can expand and build from there. When I decided to manage my money differently, I started saving 5% of my income. Then I increased it to 10%, then 15%. Now I've disciplined myself to live off 75% of my income. It took discipline to do that, but I started by watching how I spent my money. I kept a log and followed myself closely. Start with something manageable, something you know you can do. Another step in keeping your commitments to yourself is to have friends who hold you accountable. Surround yourself with people who won't let you off the hook, who won't tolerate anything less than the best from you, and who will support you in this new way of being, this new state of consciousness. Lastly, have a contingency plan. Many times when you commit to doing something, variables you didn't anticipate will arise. You need other plans in place. Be creative. Most people don't keep their commitments because when something goes wrong, they just stop. Don't let that be you. They don't have a contingency plan, so they don't know what to do next. Stop being creative. If you challenge yourself, many children say, I don't know what to do. And I always ask myself, but if you did know what to do, what would it be? That activates another part of my mind. I stop thinking about the possibilities and start experimenting. But many of us just stop dead in our tracks saying, I don't know what to do. You do know what to do. You've got genius in you. Challenge yourself, push yourself, make yourself come up with something. Use your imagination. And what you will find is that you know more than you realize. You're more creative and resourceful than you give yourself credit for. The more you do it, the easier it will become. At first, it's going to be a struggle. But after you reach a certain level of consciousness, you'll ask yourself, how is it that I didn't see this before? At the level at which I'm managing my business now, they say consciousness is what we are. I literally look at myself and say, how is it that I didn't do this before? Why couldn't I see this before? The reason I didn't see it before is that I didn't challenge myself. I didn't put myself out there. See, the reason that most of us go through life never discovering our true greatness, literally walking, breathing corpses, is because we live uncommitted lives. The uncommitted life isn't worth living. Why? Because it doesn't produce anything. You only make things happen, your life only counts, and you only make a difference when you are committed. The people who make a commitment with their lives, the people who make a commitment to their customers, their families, their relationships, are the ones who make the greatest impact in life. You can only have two things in life, reasons or results. Notice reasons don't count. Folks will always point out reasons why they are not living their dreams, why they are not manifesting their greatness. They will always have reasons, but none of those things count. The only thing that counts is results. Results don't lie, ladies and gentlemen. They tell it all. Judge a tree by the fruit that it bears, not by the ones it might talk about, wish for, think about, or affirm about, but by the fruit it actually bears. So let us look. I think all of us are committed, but I also think some of us are producing results in our lives that the level of our commitment brings, and those results might not be what we like or what we find tasteful. I don't think you can participate in life without being committed. You're either committed to mediocrity or committed to greatness. You're either committed to being productive or non-productive. You're either committed to being happy or unhappy. See, whatever you're doing, however you spend your time, that tells you who you are. Think about what it is you want to create in your life experience. Once I look at how you commit your time, once I evaluate how you spend your time, I can tell you exactly what you're committed to. People say they have dreams. They say they want to open a business or do something different than what they're doing now. They don't like their jobs, they're unhappy, they're unfulfilled. People say they want to improve their income level, but look at how they spend their time. The commitment of their time, how they use it, will tell the truth. People who say, I'd like to do better, but aren't in vocational or technical schools upgrading their skills and knowledge, how they spend their time, will tell you what's really going on. People say they want to normalize their weight or be healthy, but every time you see them, they're eating junk. That will tell you that they're committed to being obese for the rest of their lives. People say they want to stop smoking, yet they're lighting up at that very moment. Folks who say, I want to stop drinking, yet every time you're around them, they reek of alcohol. That will tell you what's going on. You don't have to listen to what they say, just watch what they do. Commitment shows up in your life through your actions. On the other hand, you can make the commitment that you don't like the results you have and that you're going to do something about it. See, that power is available to all of us. Why is it that people are frightened by commitment? Because when you say the word commitment, it intimidates a lot of people. Why? Because it means you have to deliver. Most people, when you ask them to do something, will say, I'll try. I'll try means this is my escape clause. When I don't come through, it's really a polite way of saying no. Most people like to use that language. They don't want to commit themselves because commitment means, among other things, that no excuse is acceptable. That's what it means, no excuse. If you've decided that you want to do something, if it becomes hard, then do it hard. If it's difficult, so what? If it's inconvenient, so what? See, a lot of people made a commitment to come here tonight, but they looked outside, saw it was raining, felt the temperature drop, said it was cold outside, and decided to give up on their commitment. And that's exactly how people treat their dreams. They don't honor their commitments to themselves. Let me tell you what happens when you don't keep your commitments. Number one, it begins to deplete your self-esteem and erodes your self-image. It weakens your faith in yourself. You don't feel good when you don't keep your commitments. The other thing is that you begin to develop weak relationships with people. People realize they can't depend on you. They can't rely on you because you won't keep your word. You establish a reputation of unreliability. Just think, what would your life be like if you decided to keep your commitments? How much time do you spend working on you? How much time do you spend every day working on your dream? In the last 90 days, how many books have you read? In the last year, what new skill or knowledge have you acquired? What kind of investment have you made in yourself? I'm saying that as you begin to look at where you want to go, if you want to make it today, and things are changing so fast you have to literally run to stand still. I'm saying you've got to make a conscious effort to begin to work on developing you. Here's something else. Most people are not living their dreams because of fear. Ladies and gentlemen, fear, limited vision, and lack of self-esteem are what keep most people doing things they don't want to do. It's the same reason people stay in unfulfilling relationships. They can't see themselves beyond that relationship. They can't see themselves enjoying life without that person. They think this is all I can do. It's the same reason people get stuck at a certain level in life. They can't see things being better for them. They think this is it. This is all I deserve. It's been passed on to them, and they think this is it for me. Oh no. Look at what Dr. Smiley Blanton, a colleague of Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, said about fear. Fear is the most subtle and destructive of all human diseases. Ladies and gentlemen, fear kills dreams. Fear kills hope. Fear puts people in hospitals. Fear can age you. Fear, ladies and gentlemen, can hold you back from doing something that you know within yourself you're capable of doing. But it will paralyze you. It feels like you're in a hypnotic spell. I ask you a question. What is the benefit? What's the benefit of allowing fear to hold you back? What's the benefit of giving up on yourself, of not stepping out on life and taking life on? What is the benefit for you? What's the plus in that? These are the questions I had to ask myself. I didn't want to make any mistakes. I wanted everybody to like me. I wanted to be perfect the first time I did something. But it's not going to happen. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to hurt some folks' feelings. You're going to create some enemies. Whenever you decide that you want to begin to take life on, you've got to ask yourself, how long am I going to allow this to hold me back? I like what Zig Ziglar says, fear is false evidence appearing real. That is an illusion we create in our minds. It is a state of mind that can be changed. So let's look at how we can begin to take some steps to restructure that fear, to begin to expand our visions of ourselves, to begin to increase our self-esteem. A website I came across said that self-esteem means confidence and satisfaction in oneself. Look at your life right now. Whatever you've done up to this point in time, your life is working. Whatever you have produced, it came out of you as a result of the kind of person you have become, as a result of your choices, a result of your consciousness. Now, you have to ask yourself, are you satisfied with what you have produced? Is this what you want? Would you like for things to be better than this? Do you believe that you deserve better than this? Are you content? Is this it? Do you tell yourself you don't have to do anything else, that you're already where you need to be? Maybe you think, well, I'm happy. I'm not starving like the people in Calcutta. Are you allowing yourself to get off the hook like that? Or do you believe somewhere in the back of your mind or in your heart that there is some other great work for you to do, that there's something else waiting for you, and that's why you're here? How do we handle this fear factor? How do we increase our self-esteem? You have to begin to fortify yourself. How do we do that? I believe you have to begin to consciously monitor your inner conversation and start talking to yourself. Start building yourself up. Sometimes the only good things you will hear about you are the things that you say to you. So I'm saying, learn to be your own booster. Start building yourself up. Start encouraging yourself. Start saying, I can do this. I can make this happen. When I started thinking about becoming a speaker, I said, yes, I can do this. I can make this happen. When I started trying to convince myself that I could be a businessman after flopping and failing, after losing thousands of dollars, after feeling stupid and dumb, and having people take advantage of me, because of what I didn't know. I had to talk to myself. People were saying to me that I was dumb, and somewhere in the back of my mind I was saying, you're right. Look at what I've done. But I had to say, no, 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 no. Les, hey, come on, man. Get yourself together. You can handle this. You just haven't figured it out yet. It's all right. This is your training period. This is tuition you have to pay for what you don't know. You can do this. Other people have done it. It doesn't take an Einstein. Get yourself some people who can teach you the things you don't know. Find people who have done it successfully and learn from them. Take some seminars. Attend workshops. Read books on how to manage your business. Change the way you see yourself and begin to attend to the personal details. Understand that nobody is going to take care of your business better than you. And when I started changing that mindset, when I stopped beating myself up for my mistakes and started looking at the possibility of doing better, of making the adjustments that would enable me to succeed, things began to change. I say stop beating up on yourself. You do it, I know you do. I've done it. It's a natural inclination for us to put ourselves down. See, we are born into a negative consciousness because we live in a negative world. But here are some other things, ladies and gentlemen. Begin to guard your mind against negative programming. Turn off the television. Don't watch the news. You've got to guard the kinds of things you put in your mind. See, if you don't program your mind will be programmed, because human beings are goal-oriented. That's why we die of broken hearts early. That's why we're running through life to early graves. We're going through life, ladies and gentlemen, in quiet desperation. As Henry David Thoreau said, most men lead lives of quiet desperation. Most of us go through life running scared. We've created this in our minds, false evidence appearing real. We've made it real in our minds. That's why Churchill said there's nothing to fear but fear itself. Fear is a destructive monster. So turn off the things that contribute to your fear. Turn a deaf ear to people who only talk about how negative things are because they bought into the consciousness of the world. Start attending workshops, seminars, and listening to tapes daily to begin reconditioning your mind, retraining your thinking. Faith comes by what? Hearing and hearing and hearing. Listen to things that empower you, things that enable you to create a new reality and a new life for yourself. You might appear strange to most people. Most people think you're strange if you're happy today. See, these people haven't found their purpose in life. That's why they're grumpy. That's why they're miserable. That's why they're so negative, they're hurting, and they want to hurt others. So start practicing using programs for your mind, seminars, books, workshops. Keep a journal. Record your thoughts and what's happening with you every day. Keep a journal near you. Ladies and gentlemen, we get 3 to 4 great thoughts a year that if we acted on them could change our lives. What idea are you sitting on? Write your ideas down, and then once you get that idea, take the leap. Take the leap. Send it out into the universe. If you don't take the plunge, I guarantee you somebody else will. Most of us go through life like that. Most of us go through life pretending that we're satisfied where we are, pretending that everything is okay, pretending that we don't have any special goals, ambitions, or desires. But deep down inside we do. We really do want more. But if you look at our behavior, if you judge us by what we do, it tells a different story. You have to judge a tree by the fruit it bears, not the fruit it talks about. See, a lot of people pretend they want more out of life, but all you have to do is watch their actions. People tell you, oh yeah, one day I want to have a restaurant. They're pretending they want to go into business for themselves, but they're not serious. How can you tell? Watch their actions. The proof is in the pudding. So if you want to do something, if you've thought about something you want to do, take it head on. Decide that you're going to start looking at it. Start doing research on it. Start tackling it. Start becoming involved in whatever it might lead you to. Begin exploring the possibilities in that particular thing you're seeking. Learn all you can about it. Decide that you're going to face it. Whatever shortcomings you have, strengthen yourself there. Whenever training is required, go get that training. Get started right now. As George Washington Carver said, do what you can where you are with what you have and never be satisfied. As Buckminster Fuller said, and as Joe Dudley often quoted, always strive to be more than that which you are. Don't get satisfied with yourself. Always know that wherever you are, you can enjoy more. You deserve more. But most people go through life quietly and safely, tiptoeing to early graves. Find out what it is you want and go after it as if your life depends on it. Why? Because it does. They love people who have found the things they can pour their lives into. Those people tend to live longer. I was in New York and I had to do a seminar at a special church. A guy by the name of Reverend Johnny Youngblood was there, and I asked him, how is it that you were able to build this big housing facility and get all of the various community and religious groups together to create a dwelling for 2,000 residents who were once homeless. How were you able to take on this responsibility? Wasn't it overwhelming? He said, the kind of work I do, it's in me. I've got to live what's in me. And I think that's everybody's desire in life. You've got to live what's in you. Life is just too short and unpredictable. But what do we say? There will always be tomorrow. Oh no, there's no guarantee you're going to show up tomorrow. There are a lot of people who were here yesterday aren't here today. There were a lot of opportunities that were around yesterday, but they're not here today. You can wait, but you know what Abraham Lincoln said, good things might come to those who wait, but only the things that have been left over by those who hustle. So, who wants to go through life with leftovers? You deserve much more than that. Leftovers are something someone else has left behind, so take it head on and begin to explore. Here's something else. Decide to do it now. Whatever you want to do, decide that you are now going to become actively involved in it. Start exploring the possibilities for yourself and do just a little bit of it right now. When I decided to become a speaker, I didn't just quit my job and run out saying, I'm a motivational speaker. No, what I did was start looking at other people involved in the speaking profession. I volunteered to work with some speakers so that I could learn. Whatever you want to do, get your feet wet. Gain some experience by doing volunteer work in that area and find out whether or not this is something you want to pursue. A friend of mine told me he wanted to have a restaurant. I asked him, have you ever operated a restaurant before? He said, no. I said, well, really, you don't even know if you want one. I asked him, what's your expertise? What do you bring to the table? He said, I can cook real good. I said, but what about the management side? What about the business part of the restaurant? You're not going to be cooking all the time. Somebody has to receive the money. Who's going to manage the personnel? He said, you're right. You've got a point there. So this guy got a job in a restaurant in the evening on a part-time basis. After doing that for a while, he said, you know what? I think I just want to be a chef. After working there, he realized people didn't show up for work. It was hard to find help. People were irresponsible, and the guests gave him problems day in and day out. They were never satisfied. He said, no, I think I'll just stick with cooking. See, you've got to find out what fits for you, because after you go in and examine it, experience it, and gain some experience in it, you might say, this is really not what I want. This does not fit for me. Decide that you're going to do that now. John A. Johnson said something very important. There's no defense against excellence that meets a pressing public need. Whatever you decide to do, look at it and find out, what is it that I have that I could bring to the table to help ensure my success in this? Where is the opening for me? There's room for you out here in the arena called life. There's room for you to come out and live your dream. Don't allow it to keep you in the corner or keep you up in the bleachers, looking at life as a spectator instead of a participant, making a difference in life. I believe that all of us came here with something. We all showed up to give something. And nobody is going to give the service that you have to give. No one's going to produce your product. No one's going to write your book. No one's going to open your academy. No one's going to create your daycare with a special curriculum to help cultivate high self-esteem in our children. That's your idea. And if you don't bring your idea out here, when you die, all of us will suffer because we've been deprived of your genius. You allowed but to keep you in the bleachers, not pursuing your greatness. You took it to your grave with you. And that's what most people do. I think that's why the guy said that many people die at age 21 and don't get buried until they're 65. You've got to have energy, ladies and gentlemen. You've got to have life. If you're excited about what you're doing, even in the area of selling, you know that people don't buy because of logical reasoning. People buy because of your way of feeling. People don't like to be around dead people. No, let the dead bury the dead. Don't let them grab hold of you and drag you down. So the fact is, whatever you do, you want to be excited about it. You want to have excitement that's so contagious, people want to be around you. Because whatever you're doing, when you talk to people about your idea, they're looking at you and asking, do you believe in it? Are you the kind of person I want to do business with? And if you're not positive, if you're not energetic, if you're not fired up about it, how can you expect anyone else to be excited about your idea? Am I right? All right, repeat after me, please. I'm going to be fired up about my dream. I'm going to go to with everything I've got. Shake somebody's hand on your right and left and say, you've got what it takes. There are a lot of people who say, but I tried once or twice and it didn't work out. So they use that as an excuse not to ever try again. A guy said, if at first you don't succeed, you're running about average. So if you've come out here with an idea and it didn't work out 2 or 3 times, well, that's all right. You're still about average. I heard a jarring question once. Why is it that people prefer known hells to unknown heavens? You know why? Because it's comfortable. Ladies and gentlemen, I remember I was in a service once and I heard Dr. Johnny Coleman give this example. She talked about a man who had been captured behind enemy lines in a war and was sentenced either to be killed or to choose another option. The captain said to the guy, listen, tomorrow morning at 6 o'clock, you can face the firing squad or you can go out this door over here. The guy asked, what's out the door? The captain said, no one knows. All we can tell you is that it's unknown horrors. He thought about it, and the next morning he selected the firing squad. After the shots rang out, the captain's secretary asked, what was beyond that door? He said, freedom. But very few people would choose it because it's unknown. See, a lot of people never live their dreams. A lot of people never do the things they want to do. A lot of people stay on jobs where they're miserable. I read an article called, Is Your Job Making You Sick? Many of you already know what that feels like. You're going to say amen. It's all right. One lady told me, Les, when I used to go to work, when I stepped in the door, I felt like a refrigerator dropped on my shoulders. How many of you understand that kind of feeling? They were miserable, just hated to go. After 60 minutes on a Sunday afternoon or come Monday morning, my head would throb. I just couldn't take it. I didn't want to go. Sometimes, just for the heck of it, I'd drive on by. I used to hate to go to work. Many of us choose an active living death. Many of us are the walking dead, not doing what we want to do. Many of us stay in relationships where we're dying together rather than growing and expanding and living together. We're miserable. But because we don't have the courage to see ourselves beyond that relationship that has turned toxic, we stay. I'll never forget Mr. Washington said, Mr. Brown, yes, sir. What do you want to do with your life, young man? I said, sir, I want to be a disc jockey. He said, Mr. Brown. I said, yes, sir. He said, you've got to be hungry. I said, what do you mean by that? He said, people that are hungry are willing to do the things today others won't do in order to have the things tomorrow others won't have. People that are hungry are willing to invest in themselves. People that are hungry will go to seminars and workshops. People that are hungry are always searching, always seeking higher ground. So how do you want to make it? I said, I want to be a disc jockey. That's good. Here's what to do, he said. I want you to read 10 to 15 pages of something positive every day. You don't get in life what you want. You get in life what you are. You must program yourself to success. He said, why don't you listen to Earl Nightingale and Zig Ziglar? Listen. Faith comes by hearing and hearing and hearing. He said, I want you to change your relationships, and I don't want you to ever lose your hunger. I said, what do you mean by that? He said, people that are hungry are unstoppable. People that are hungry are no matter what, people, they make it happen no matter what. He said, I want you to listen to Paul Harvey. Who is he? I asked. He's the world's greatest communicator. Success leaves clues, young man. Always listen and follow people who are doing what it is you want to do at the level you want to do it, and learn from them. I told T. Hub when we were standing by the stage, I said, hey man, I want to work more with you. I want you to coach me. I want to learn from you. See, I found that you're never too old to learn, and you're never too young to teach. Always have a thirst for learning. So I listened to Paul Harvey every day on the radio while in school. I would go out and listen in his car. He gave me his keys. I was working to develop myself, and I continued to listen to motivational messages. He would take me to see the late Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, who wrote the book, The Power of Positive Thinking. I toured with him before he passed. You have something special. You have greatness within you. Don't allow your circumstances to determine who you are. Don't allow your negative thoughts to hold you back. You have something special. You can do more than you could ever begin to imagine. Dr. Peale was an incredible man. I admired him. When he spoke, he gave me goosebumps. I could feel him in my heart. And I never forget, we were coming back to the school and Mr. Washington said, Mr. Brown, yes, sir, when Dr. Peale spoke, you didn't move. When he spoke, you were hanging on everywhere. When he spoke, we didn't have to tell you to sit down and be quiet. Why? I said, sir, I could feel him. When he talked, I felt like he was talking to me. He said, he was. I said, but he doesn't know me. He said, no, he was speaking to you. Did you feel him in your heart? I said, yes, sir. He said, most people feel him in their head. If you felt him in your heart, listen to him, son, follow him, learn from him. And I would go to seminars and workshops anywhere I could find where Dr. Peale was. I would be in the audience. I'd drive 200 and 300 miles just to hear him speak. And my dream and vision was to share the stage with him. I thought about it. What is your goal? What is your vision? I want you to hold it in mind. There's power in that. Because when I became involved in speaking, I never forget, I got a call from Art Mandino, who wrote the book, The Greatest Salesman in the World. He said, Les, I'm stuck in Philadelphia. I need to be in Kankakee. Dr. Norman Vincent Peale is appearing, and I can't make it. I heard you're in Chicago. I said, yes, I am. Can you go and open for me? I said, yes, man. Oh, my God, Dr. Peale. He said, yes, I'd love to do it. And I went there. I came in and said, hi, I'm Les Brown. He said, you're not the band right now. I said, no, I'm Mrs. Mamie Brown's baby boy. I'm here to speak. He said, come backstage. His wife, Martha, was there. She said, Papa Les Brown is here, the speaker. He said, Les Brown, Les Brown. Shoot for the moon, because even if you miss, you'll land among the stars. I said, sir, that's my quote. I wrote you when I was in the 11th grade as part of a special education class project. That's my quote. He said, I know. I end all my speeches with that quote. So I did the things Mr. Washington suggested. I listened to motivational tapes on a regular basis. I would go to seminars and workshops whenever Zig Ziglar and Dr. Dennis Waitley and Jim Rohn would come to town. And I said, sir, what do you want me to do now? He said, Mr. Brown, I've given you everything I can give you. He said, develop your mind. Put your money where your mouth is. Continue to learn how to be an effective communicator. Because once you open your mouth, you tell the world who you are. And always surround yourself with OQP, only quality people. So I went to apply for a job on Miami Beach at William Radio Station. Milton Butterball Smith was the program director. Hello, Mr. Butterball, how are you, sir? My name is Les Brown, and I'd like to be a disc jockey. He said, young man, do you have a journalism background? I said, no, sir, I don't have any experience in broadcasting. He said, no, sir, but I practice all the time, sir. Let me audition for you. Let me show you how good I am. All I need is a shot. He says, no, we don't have any jobs for you. I said, I've never been rejected. Raise your hands, please. I was devastated. I went back and told Mr. Washington. I said, Mr. Washington, they said no. He said, don't take it personally. Most people are so negative they have to say no 7 times before they say yes. You've got to be hungry. Know your vitamin. Go back again. I said, yes, sir. Hello, Mr. Butterball. How are you, sir? My name is Les Brown, and I'd like to be a disc jockey. He said, young man, weren't you here yesterday? I said, yes, sir. He said, didn't I tell you no yesterday? I said, yes, sir. He said, then why are you back today? I said, well, sir, I didn't know whether or not somebody was laid off or someone was fired. He said, nobody was laid off or fired. Now, get out of here. I came back the next day talking loud, looking happy, like I was seeing him for the first time. I said, hello, Mr. Butterball, how are you? He looked at me with rage and said, go get me some coffee. I said, yes, sir. My favorite book says, the greatest among you will be your servant. How many of you are serious about your goals and dreams? Raise your hands. Very good. Write this down. Provide more service than you get paid for. Provide more service than you get paid for. I go to a lot of seminars and workshops, and one of the things I know about T. Harv Eker, when I was sitting in the class with Robert Kiyosaki and all of the other presenters, they hold themselves to high standards and provide more information than anybody else in the industry, bar none. They hold nothing back because their commitment is for your success. And when you hold yourself to high standards, write this down, impact drives income. That's why you're here, because the training, the seminars have been making a difference in your life. If there were no impact, 200 or 300 people wouldn't be here, if that. Impact drives income. So I became the errand boy for the disc jockeys. I would go get their lunch and their dinner and bring it to them in the control room, watching them work the control boards, knowing my time would come. Write this down. I expect to reach my goal. Yes, you want to operate with a spirit of expectation. I expect to reach my goal. So I started preparing for the next position. Never forget one quote that I heard: as you look at your life, as you look at your goals and dreams, it's better to be prepared for an opportunity and not have one than to have an opportunity and not be prepared. If you expect to reach your goal, prepare yourself now.